welcome to the Barcoding Huddle. I'm Jody Costa. I'm the VP of Marketing for Barcoding Inc. Barcoding is a supply chain automation and innovation company dedicated to helping organizations be more efficient, accurate, and connected. And we're super excited today to bring you a conversation around fleet productivity with our partner, Geotab. We're also going to be joined by a special guest, so you'll see that in a second. But we really appreciate you being here, and we're excited to dive in. Geotab just celebrated 22 years in business. They're ranked the #1 commercial telematics vendor worldwide by ABI Research, and they continue to be recognized for their innovative technology and solutions. Whether you have 1 vehicle or 1,000 vehicles, they have solutions to fit your needs, and Barcoding's customers have seen that. So without further ado, I'd like my panelists to go ahead and join me on camera for this great conversation about going the extra mile. So please come on camera with me. Hello, there we go.
Hello.
I see some beautiful faces. Welcome officially to the Barcoding Huddle, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jody.
You're welcome. Well, you already heard who I am, so I like to start these conversations with a little intro into who you all are, so our audience knows who's with us today. So we're going to start with introductions, and then we're going to get rolling. Leanne, I'm actually going to start with you, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. I'm Leanne Johnson, and I'm a partner account manager at Geotab, and my role there is to work very closely with our partners to make sure that they are reaching their goals and objectives in bringing telematic and connected vehicle solutions to their customers. I've been at Geotab for just over 7 years, was employee number 101. And now I think we're well up over, I don't know, 1,500, Angie, more than that, maybe. Lots. We've grown exponentially. Prior to that, my background is in fleet management. I was in product development and marketing for a large fleet management company for about 17 years. So I kind of bring that fleet background, product, communication into the sales and telematics realm with my partners.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, and it's been great working with you the years that we've been working together, so I'm excited to chat today. Angie, how about you next?
Great. Yeah. So my name is Angie Milne. I'm a manager in our solutions engineering department. So I've actually been with Geotab for 11 years now. Back, I think it was maybe even less than 40 at that point. And Leanne, I just double checked, it is we're over 2,000 employees now. So it's been a wild ride, that's for sure. Yeah. So my role within the solutions engineering department, I'm in charge of education and program management within the department, helping not only our team run as a kind of well-oiled machine, but also help out the rest of the organization on top of that.
That's great. Well, we're very thrilled to have you here, Angie, and to learn from your vast experience. So thanks for being here. And if you hadn't guessed it, our special guest I saved for last. Ken Curry, who's on the Barcoding team, special guest today. Ken, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, thanks, Jody. My name is Ken Curry, and I've been with Barcoding for 13 years, 3 months, 6 days, and 7 hours. And it's been a great joy to be part of a dynamic organization and team. And in my role here in business development, I spend a lot of time working with our partner ecosystem, and so happy to be joined by our friends at Geotab.
Well, we're happy to have you. I know that you have a great background into the transportation sector, so I'm certainly going to bring a lot of expertise to the table. So we really want to dive in today, I think, around the topic of fleet productivity. Certainly, it's something that's near and dear to businesses' hearts as all sorts of factors have come down the pike. We want to focus on how do we improve that productivity? How do we measure? How do we move forward? And really, what's the best approach? And I think, our partnership with Geotab has been great because we've been able to see this success within our customer base, but not every one of our customers actually knows about Geotab. So that's why we're on this huddle today. So we want to give all of our customers and all those folks watching a good taste of what Geotab can do. Obviously, take part in this great growth that you all are having. Leanne, I thought maybe I'd just start with you to just start really broad and kind of give us the high level 30,000 foot view of Geotab. So start at the very beginning for folks watching.
Okay, well, the beginning, where's the start of the beginning? Productivity, I think the very beginning is really, you can't manage what you can't measure. And what, if we do nothing else, we bring a vast amount of data and information to companies to solve problems. And that's really the crux of what it's all about. So we have organized a lot of the data that we've got so much data, we've organized it into various different pillars. So we are able to then address what different companies are looking to solve. Everybody has something a little bit different that they want to accomplish with data, maybe a problem that they need to solve. And we would then, we're able then to very succinctly fit them with the data, collect and report on the data that they need, deliver it who needs to see it, when they need it, how they need to see it, etc. And that's important, because what we do a little bit differently, I think, having been around for 22 years and having evolved, knowing customers using this sort of data, is we're able to really customize the information. So, and this is where, Angie's so valuable in her background. She's been with us for such a long time. She's seen our reporting go from something that's been very basic and simple to, it could be as honest to goodness. It's limited by your imagination, what you can do. So it's Excel based, completely customizable. And what that does is that allows customers to go in and pull the information that they want, deliver it to the people that they want. They can brand it, they can move columns around, they can change what they're called so that the terminology and the labels match their internal, what they call things in their organization. And they can save that back into their own database. And they have created something completely customizable that works really just for their company. Further to that, they can then, send it out to various stakeholders in their organization. They can they can broaden it. So there may be an area in the organization that would use different data, and they can add to it and send it over there to those people. And then the other thing that they're able to do, and I know Angie can kind of dive into this and elaborate a little bit more, but the dashboards that we've created that sit on top of all of these reports give all of the users a perfect visual representation of their data and the things that they really need to pay attention to. And they can organize that by user as to what they care about.
Yeah.
And it's easy. You don't have to pay anybody to do it. You don't have to, have some expensive customized program managed. You just take the data and you manipulate it and manage it quite easily. If you can run Excel, it's not that hard. So it's been pretty useful.
That's awesome. And so, I mean, obviously Geotab brings a ton to the table. They're a true solution provider. And then when you couple that with what barcoding brings, Ken, I mean, when we're talking about telematics, I mean, where do we start on this data conversation? Where do most of our customers start in terms of what they want to see and what they want to collect? Because, data capture, close to our hearts, the barcoding.
Yeah, well, one of the great things about Geotab is that there are thousands of different standard and canned reports. And these reports have gotten there on an iterative basis over time. As customers solve business problems or Geotab solves business problems for customers, they make them available for the entire population. We find, well, our customer base, I would kind of group into three types of customers. And the first type are firms that are well-versed on the technology. They've been committed to telematics and ELD for a long time. They're well-staffed. So they utilize some initial training from us, and then they're up and running and they're self-sufficient almost immediately. We hear from them when, for enhancement requests and things that or new business problems. Sometimes sometimes when you're able to address issues, and you have command over them, the solution to some problems create new ones. So, we're always looking to evolve. Then there's firms that they're typically larger enterprises, and they can export tens of thousands to millions of pieces of data on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Generally, it would go into a data warehouse, and then they do enterprise reporting specific to their business. They may favor safety, productivity, efficiency, behavior, customer service, and some of our customers will develop scorecards then from all the way from the driver to the branch to the region to the operating company level. And then we have firms that are evaluating Geotab, and possibly they're doing so alongside other alternatives. In this case, in these cases, we'll use our standard barcoding approach. And I think we have a visual for that.
Oh, I do. I got you here. 1 second.
So as you're pulling that up, we typically take a process people technology approach, really, when we engage with our customers. And in the use case where we're facilitating a pilot or a proof of concept, from a process perspective, really in the question phase, we're going to get into key reports that are needed from day one, and we'll identify those reports, and we'll look for areas of improvement, maybe things that are missing in the current system, and maybe what's on the wish list for management. And those areas will form the basis of the critical success factors from which we will measure the outcome of the proof of concept and pilot. And interestingly enough, at the end of that cycle, a customer already has all of the ports that they've required. And even a lot of them that the wish to has and the must has. And if we're successful at the end of the proof of concept and they're successful, they'll be using all of the reports that in dashboards that they've wanted from, that they did at the very beginning at day one of production. So from a people perspective, and this is really when we get into kind of the build and the deploy phase, we're going to teach the customer how to build the reports. And as Leanne said, dashboards really are a function of reports. Reports feed dashboards, and so we're gonna teach the customer how to develop them. In some cases, we may just build them for the customer, and then when we deploy and move from deployment into the run phase, we're going to work with our customers to on how to optimize the report, how to optimize decisions, how to improve upon the reports, and ultimately to evolve over the life cycle and the lifetime of that customer. So I think the reporting is really in the dashboards are really key to the Geotab value proposition. And if you as Leanne said, if you can use Excel, you don't need to be a business analyst. And as a managed service provider, we're going to help customers to build the reports that they need.
That's awesome, Ken. And I mean, you speak in my language when we're speaking PPT and the delivery framework, and probably Angie has lived some version of this at the Geotab side, and I want to get you involved here. And I thought maybe, we've been talking a lot about data, and it seems to me that when it comes to telematics information, the sky's kind of the limit. And we talked about maybe diving in through a process to uncover what's really necessary. But maybe, and I don't know if this is a fair question, but maybe just could you give us some examples? I know there's been a lot happening. I love the fact that these reports and dashboards build over time, but maybe bring us to the current moment. What are you seeing out there?
Absolutely, yeah. So if we, the great thing about Geotab is that we can range from a small fleet that is just interested in the basic information, right? So we can show them the dashboard. Some examples would be, let's just look at some trends over time, right? What's our mileage looking like over the last 3 months in comparison to our fuel spend? And also in comparison to our idle. Those 3 things alone could give you so much information for a small fleet or even a larger fleet. But I think as we are evolving, obviously we love using Excel because it is so customizable, but we have a data and analytics department that has grown so much because of all the data points that we have, and there's different ways that we can showcase information. So again, customers don't need to have a data analyst or data scientist on their teams. We've built those tools into the product so we can showcase those aggregate tools and visualizations to customers. We've got our basic dashboard, but then if people want to drill down even further or look at things in a little bit of a different way, maybe benchmark against other types of similar fleets or even against themselves, we now have the ability using our big data environment to give that information to the customers.
And if you're talking about evolving, and we've just recently added a new pillar, right? We had 5 pillars that we ran on. We've added sustainability as a new pillar of reports, a new area where everybody's kind of getting a toe in the water, but it's not sure, it's not certain. It's difficult to know which vehicles you can replace with electric vehicles, and we're developing reports. We're developing tools to help fleets with electrification, with infrastructure that goes along with that, and develop Geotab Energy as a separate division to address sustainability and the electrification of vehicles coming forward. So, to Ken's point, when somebody needs a new report, it gets published out there for everybody. So we still don't know what we don't know, like what fleets are going to need to help with electrification. It's not all plain yet, how they need to see the data, who we're going to partner with to collect this data, what other data points are going to come in from other types of infrastructure, charging, hydro companies, etc. I mean, it's really early days there, but what's wonderful, what I've seen is that the platform that we've built everything on really facilitates evolution nicely. So we can build on everything that we're doing. We make a change for one person or one, we start working closely with one company who's, flying down the electrification path and making great strides. And that work that we do to support that customer will come back and be made available for everybody. And it really is, it's already put us at the forefront in the electric vehicle space for connected vehicle data and telematics.
That's so awesome. That was actually going to be my next question because, Angie, you mentioned that with small fleets, people can get some benefit just from some more simplified telematics information. And my first thought was like, well, of course, everyone's been talking about gas prices. So efficiency, of course, jumped to mind. And so, Leanne, great comments there about the sustainability pillar. And Ken, I'm assuming you're hearing all these same types of things coming from our customer base.
We sure are. And one of the nice things about Geotab's comprehensive reporting is that customers can benchmark, or they can start with where they're at today, and really set goals to benchmark where they want to get to, and can follow corporate or enterprise initiatives. If most of our customers are still using internal combustion engines, so the sustainability reports that really come standard for every Geotab customer out of the box can provide a wealth of data as far as how things are today and how to really how to improve outcomes from a sustainability perspective, with carbon, with efficiency. And these are things that are not that you don't have to hire a business analyst or even us to do. They're out of the box and in ready to go from day one.
I just
Yeah.
love her. Go ahead, Angie.
I was just going to say, and the great thing with the, even though majority of the fleets are ICE vehicles, like Ken was saying, a lot of the reports that we have available, or the data that we have available, so a customer can easily run a fuel report, but then we can also tie in costs, right? So we have the fuel information, we have idle information. I think the quickest ROI that we can get is from sustainability and from idle and fuel. We know kind of generally how much fuel is costing, and especially right now, it's very high. And that is probably the most important piece for a lot of people. And we can apply a cost to it, So now you can start to not just look at the actual fuel being burned, but how is that affecting our overall costs as a fleet, and where can we start saving some money? So, we can see idle percentage, right? So I really good example I can think of that we used with a basic report that we had in one of our largest customers, and the first thing they looked at was idle. I think their average idle percentage was sitting at around 40%. So 40% of the time that the vehicle was running, it was idling. And so obviously, I mean, not great, but great. We can start looking at some information and we can start seeing how we can bring this down. So we were able to say, okay, well, the idle's costing this much, and we could break it down by regions because it was a nationwide fleet. We could break it down by driver, but then let's take a look and see, okay, if we got them to maybe their goal is 5%. What additional, we can kind of show them, here's how much you're spending, but here's how much you could be saving if you had hit that goal. And it's just, simple reports. And again, it was something that came out from this large customer, and we thought every fleet could benefit from this. So let's see how we can build this into our system. So kind of what Ken was showing is that we're constantly evolving, and we're looking at the needs of the customers. And that to me is like such a simple, great, big win.
I just love how you guys learn and partner kind of with your customers and with your partners to drive the product forward. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you're nervous to see the data, but because of, you're going to find the 40% idle, but then the only way you can really truly manage your operations today is through this visibility, right? Because we just can't manage what we don't measure. And as a former-ish athlete, I always think about reviewing film, like, oh, I don't want to see it, but I do want to see it because I know it'll make me better. But I still, it's like that.
Exactly. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. Well, I mean, with all of that you're doing to drive fleet productivity, one comment that got dropped really early on that I wanted to revisit was the foundation. So how you're able to basically provide this ease of use, this reporting and dashboarding, this expansion over 22 years with your customer base. I think that all is baked into the architecture, right, Angie? Is that the right place to start?
100%. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, and I mean, Ken, we've talked about this before. I mean, we vet lots of different partners, and I think this is one of the strongest, not to give away the answer, this is one of the strongest reasons we're with Geotab.
It is. So prior to 2017, we had worked with a number of different telematics providers, and it was essentially, we were just trying to serve our customers with the investments that they had made. As some of you know, in 2017, the FMCSA mandate took effect in the United States and required this technology for a number of commercial fleets. Well, because of the mandate, and as in being a managed service provider, we took a look at really everyone in the market, and what we were having challenges with is that as the technology was changing due to the mandate, some of the providers that we were working with had different, they were sourcing their hardware from different places. Some of them were writing firmware, some of them were dependent on firmware. The firmware is what connects hardware to the rest of the application. And because when you have multiple providers trying to deliver on one platform, it becomes very easy for problems to crop up that can't immediately be solved without lots of conference calls and tickets, and it really became unwieldy. So after looking at the ecosystem, we down selected on Geotab, and one of the key reasons was that Geotab's hardware, firmware, database portal, mobile application, they all are the same team. So from the product design at the hardware, at the physical layer, all the way to how that manifests with, with workflow, configurable workflow applications, it was one team. So two tangible, examples of why that mattered are after 2 years, our tickets are trouble tickets that our telematics customers would registered had dropped by 75%.
Wow.
Secondarily, because of that comprehensive and integrated product development team, Geotab does 3 to 4 major releases per year. Okay, and that's in relative to the industry at that time, and probably still, you're lucky to get 1 or 2 major releases per year. One other thing, we have never had a customer with an enhancement request that did not get fulfilled within 2 cycles, two major product release cycles. It wasn't like getting in line at the post office. If it couldn't be fit into the current cycle, it made it into the next cycle. And built in, and from a legacy perspective, those enhancements were things that benefited the entire population of Geotab customers. So it's been, the architecture is really foundational for us. And as a managed service providers, customers are looking to us really to manage their uptime, right? Because we should collectively be able to do it, to do a good job, right? And if we're doing a good job, then, and this has always been key for us, when we're doing a good job, we're helping our customers to improve their customer experience. And because of that, we know that we made the right decision with Geotab.
That's awesome. And I assume that part of that decision was made a little easier by Leanne's excellent partner management. Leanne, I want to turn to you. I mean, I actually heard in our prep time, you say that productivity is only as good as what's underneath of it, what lies underneath of it. Could you expand a little bit about that from the Geotab perspective and kind of how you guys think about it from the Geotab side?
Productivity for customers, it's different for all of them. They're managing different things. Different things matter to different customers, but it's, for some, it's as simple as just having a live feed of their VIN and odometer for their fleet and knowing where everything is and when. Creating utilization reports is a huge one right now because even talk about sustainability, which is a huge topic right now with the bill that was just passed. Mm-hmm. Sustainability doesn't have to be electric vehicles all the time, right? So productivity and fleet utilization is another step towards being more sustainable. To take vehicles out of your fleet that you don't need to use, you don't need to put that burn that fuel, you don't need that additional cost to your fleet. You can use your vehicles a lot more effectively. You know which ones you better know which ones need to be replaced and when. You will know which ones could be replaced with electric vehicles, but which ones can't be replaced with electric vehicles now, based on infrastructure, geography, and the vocation of the vehicle. So we look at all of these different measurements, and whatever a customer needs to measure in order to address their productivity measurements. So that could be people, right? That's managing your people. That could be how much time are my people spending with customers, or if they're at a store, if they're unloading a shipment, whatever that may be, how much time is it taking? So you can put zones, all of your customer zones on a map, and you can create reports that tell you how long they're in and out of those zones and where they are and what they're doing, and really kind of analyze how to best organize your people and your fleet.
Right. And back to the comment. Oh, well, I was going to say back to your comment that that's directly related to the customer's customer experience, right? Why we're doing all of this reporting, and all of that's possible because of this architecture that Geotab's invested in. Right?
Customers want to get better, right? They want to be better for their customers.
Right.
They're expecting a good customer experience from barcoding. Barcoding needs a good customer experience from us so that our collective customers can deliver, a service level that they can be proud of and that they can improve on.
Yeah, and just to add to that, from an architecture perspective, two things came to mind when you were speaking, Leanne. So Geotab is really one of the only companies that provides its hardware so effective, it provides raw data from the engine and from the ECM. It's not filtered, and some of the newer providers don't do this. And what does that mean? If you want to get better with maintaining your fleet, right, which is also a part of efficiency, how long can I keep my trucks operational in an environmentally friendly way, in a way that I'm not replacing things that I don't need to. You can use the data from Geotab to really get to far better PM outcomes, and even move into prescriptive and predictive analytics. The other part that I was thinking about is that because of the architecture and because of this, that Geotab has such an integrated approach, it makes an integrated approach with their product development teams. They've made it very easy to export data. The APIs are best in class and they're industry leading. If you don't believe me, go to Geotab's website. They're public and they're on their wiki. But when you can easily export, translate, or import data, right? If you can use Excel, then you can take data from other systems, right, and combine it with Geotab and then display it. So when you're thinking about a customer service interval, when you make a plan, it's very important to see how that plan is executed, and Geotab can seamlessly do that. So now you're using your data to drive better outcomes from a customer service and delivery experience. That's one practical example, I think, of what you were talking about, Leanne.
Yeah, and I'd love to hear from Angie, because I think it's interesting, this openness versus a closed loop system. Through your experience, do you want to talk to us about Geotab's strategy there and why you guys went that direction?
Yeah, I think we, going back to the architecture as well, when we kind of first approached things, we didn't want to be beholden to anybody else, right? We wanted to be the ones that were there to design everything from the hardware to the software and in between. Because of the things that Ken was mentioning, right? We wanted to take an engineering approach. So we almost consider ourselves like an engineering firm, if you will, and working with our partners that know the customers so well, it is a true partnership. We try not to make ourselves kind of that manufacturer. We are that true partnership. And I just wanted to kind of call that out, because I think that was really important to us. We really wanted to make sure that we had that full ownership of everything. As far as the productivity side of things, I really like what Ken mentioned, is that it's not just about, optimization and making sure that people are going where they're going. There is the kind of the maintenance side of things as well. So we do collect that information. We have a full, automotive engineering team that focuses on getting that information from the engine, doing reverse engineering wherever we need to do it to make sure that our fleets are getting all that important information. We've taken that, and then we've expanded even further with our active insights and showing battery health, where we can actually identify battery failures that could lead to breakdowns, lost time and productivity, and unmet service level agreements. So that's just one aspect of it. Now, when it comes to the openness, I think our CEO is very adamant about that. We never want to we don't want to shy away. We don't want to hide anything. I think it's such a great thing that you can just go to our website and you can just look up our software development kit. You could learn all of the different methods and objects that we have and all the different wrappers that we can use. And we even have a runner so people can play around and they can see what works best for them. It really kind of helps build that relationship between our customers and ourselves and our partners.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, it's something that I think speaks volumes of the type of culture that you have and kind of your mindset of really being there for your customers. Because sometimes it's a very scary proposition for a software company to do something like that. So kudos to you guys on that.
And just think too, like how many integrations are out there that we would be none the wiser to, right? It's just very easy for people to even just pull one data point into a report that they need, which really speaks to, when you first embark, you are solving a particular problem. This is your objective with telematics, with Geotab perhaps, but it doesn't have to finish there. And I think that, Ken, in your chart that you showed earlier, the last little point was explore, and you never want to stop doing that.
Right.
Because there's, you've made an investment in this technology, and it doesn't have to stop with measuring idle time or productivity or the problem that you set out to solve, because the data is so, there's so much, it's so vast. There will be other stakeholders in your organization that will benefit, that will be able to take a piece of that and maybe improve a process, or maybe they'll be able to create a little easier and more accurate report that they need to provide. Any number of things. It's just, it doesn't ever stop.
And to that end, Leanne, I think it's important to mention that, we work closely together on some of our customers. Some of our customers we meet weekly. With some of our customers we meet quarterly and annually. And when we get into that explore phase, it's not it's part of our what we call a barcoding business review process. But we're going to look at all of the metrics that are important, how we're doing, and where what the roadmap looks like from a technology perspective, but what their business looks like from a from a need from a continuous improvement perspective as well. So when we're exploring, we're looking to explore and evolve, and we do it collaboratively with customers as much to the as deep as they'd like to get with us and intimate. We welcome it, and it's something that that I think is a great differentiator with your company.
I think that what helps there too is that with our open platform, we have a marketplace that is full of solutions. And again, you don't have to know exactly what you need today for the next 10 years. You don't need a crystal ball. You don't need to know how your company is going to grow or how you might change, or whether you acquire something or the solutions are easy enough to add on, to plug and play, to unplug one, add in another. So if you need a cameras they're becoming table stakes now, where telematics was once. Everybody's very interested in safety and very interested in cameras. Well, from what I've seen and what I know, there's not one camera solution that is going to serve every fleet. In fact, some fleets may be best served by more than one camera solution. So the marketplace and our huge, countless list of partners really provides a flexibility for fleets to cobble together and build, almost like Legos, the solution that really meets their fleet's needs, and they can create something that's very unique just for them. Integrating everything, picking and choosing just exactly the right thing that they need, and they don't have to worry that I have to pick it and make sure that it's going to be good for the next 10 years because it's a huge investment. You don't have to. You can change it. It's easy enough to follow you along and grow with you.
Yeah, and that's the interesting kind of evolution of our openness, if you will, right? So when we talk about our SDK and our APIs that we had out there, we initially did that because we wanted our customers to be able to do more, right? We know that our out-of-box solution is good, But we know that there's other things that they can tap into, right? And we wanted to give them that opportunity to, tie into their payroll systems, right? Not only can they pull information from our system, but they can actually push information into our system. They can add things into it. We look at our fleet management companies. They're managing the vehicles for that fleet, and they want to be able to connect the two systems. And that's kind of how we initially started looking at things. And then we realized, hey, there's probably other things that we can do with this. And you could actually build our My Geotab platform with our APIs, which is so great. People can build their own fleet management portals using our APIs. And then we kind of expanded into, well, what else can we do within our system? And then we created add-ins. Add-ins are basically another kind of page within the software that didn't exist before. It doesn't exist normally when you get the out-of-box solution. But we said, hey, we can do a little bit more with this, and let's play around with it. And that's where the Green Fleet dashboard comes from, and other really great tools that you can add into the system. And then we started working with some partners and realizing there's some other, developers that are doing some great things. Let's build this marketplace. And not only from the software side of things, even from the hardware side of things. We've had some partners that have created their own iOS cables to be able to plug into our device with, a Wayscale system or something along those lines. And we even created APIs specifically for those as well. So we identify these needs and we kind of watch what people are doing and just keep expanding off of that. And we want to make it open so that they have the power to do that. And our, my department, that's where we kind of come in, is we work really closely with those developers. And, we do code reviews and we work through it with them. And we really kind of value that connection.
Well, Angie, until you said the word code review, I was like, I'm going to join your department. And then that happened, and I was like, nope, staying in marketing. But that's awesome. There's so much passion there. I love that. And it's the Legos was a great way of thinking about it. I was like imagining kind of building to what my unique organization needs are, right? So that's just a really great visual. Well, I want to switch gears a little bit because we're coming to the end of our time, and I want to make sure we touch upon a topic that is always top of mind, and that is security. So we know that companies are more concerned about security than ever before. Probably we say this every single year, but I think it's still true. And when we're talking about data and we're talking about data flowing back and forth, it's probably the number one question that pops into people's heads, right? How does Geotab kind of secure that data? Angie, I guess maybe you take the stab first, and then we'll hop around.
For sure, yeah. I think security is probably one of the most important things that we think about here at Geotab. I think that's at the forefront of everything that we do. We take a rigorous approach to security following, principle of continuous improvement. So, to protect ourselves, our customers, our partners, we're constantly reviewing, improving, validating our security mechanisms, our processes to ensure that our systems remain resilient to intrusion and just overall disaster, right? We also collaborate with leading stakeholders to advance security across the industry as well. So not just with ourselves, but we want to make sure the industry as a whole is really focusing on the security side of things. We've gone so far as, we've got certain compliance certifications and authorizations. So FedRAMP, we are FedRAMP authorized for our cloud-based platform. FIPS 140-2 validation for our Go device cryptographic library. So it is such an important piece for us that not only are we focused, like I said, focused on ourselves, but we are focused on the industry as a whole.
Sounded like somebody else thought it was very
yes he agrees. Yeah,
he agrees. Leanne, I'm sure that you can also comment from the Geotab perspective. I'm sure you hear it from your partners and from the customers as well, right?
Yeah, we do. It's foremost on everybody's mind. And it's something I think that Geotab is trying to influence within the industry, because there's not a lot of regulation on what telematics services and companies, what those security protocols look like. And I know that's something that we're trying to influence. Again, our CEO really looks at the greater good of the industry, not just Geotab. And he genuinely, honestly wants to influence security for all of telematics so that it's a safe place and it's safe for fleets to operate. So we could have said it at the beginning, but Geotab is a research and development, first and foremost, engineering company. We don't sell directly to customers. We have a couple of exceptions to that, but we don't. We sell through our partners like barcoding, and the reason is that we want to invest in and focus solely on the core product, on that foundation that everything's been built on, and make sure that it's secure, make sure it's reliable, make sure it's scalable. That's why we integrate with partners who are really good at cameras and really good at sensors, instead of always trying to develop and glue our own on there. It just makes more sense for us to just be open and be able to kind of create an ecosystem that people can create what they need. And when we have a partner like barcoding that we work so well with, we are included at the table with your customers. We work together to solve the problems that they're trying to address. And it's a pleasure. You guys bring the value to the customers that that is so important. I mean, we focus on, again, the platform and this piece, and we'll be at the table with you and support you all day long. But barcoding is really frontline with the customer, and it's partners like you that have really made us successful.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. That's great to hear. And from our piece, we do take the solution very seriously. We take the security piece very seriously. And just like you mentioned, you have great partners on the security camera side. We tend to play more in that mobile space, right? So Ken, I know that from our perspective, when we're doing installations and we're thinking about that Geotab Drive app on mobile devices, what are some of the things that we're considering, especially in terms of security?
Yeah, great question. So we lock down all of the devices with a barcoding managed experience. So we have a managed mobility platform, and it's really part of our pre-live process to understand our customers' security policies, maybe to create them together, right? If it's something that they hadn't thought about before, and then to essentially provide a service that's fit to purpose and fit to format for our customers with good security policies, not just at the technology layer, but from an escalation and from a people perspective. The fact that the Geotab is really one, that they have control from hardware all the way to the end mobile application. It's very important. You're really dealing with one company, but with a company that is so locked down and with such a rich legacy, but then is easy to integrate to the rest of your stack. It's rare that someone's going to come in and replace everything from day one. It's evolving. To say that security is something that's evolving with us from a managed mobility perspective, but it was one of the key reasons why we down selected to Geotab being our only the telematics provider that we lead with and we support.
Which is why we were on this huddle today. I mean, we were very thankful to have spent some time with Geotab. Angie, Leanne, really appreciate you sharing your time. I feel like we've learned a lot about how you guys bring real true value. And I say again, it is rare, Ken, that a company, really lives these values that they bring to the table, that is working so closely with customers and partners to improve the experience of those individual organizations and the industry at large. Well done, Geotab. Congrats on your 22 years. You're off and rolling, and we look forward to being your partner for many years to come. So for those of you who've ever watched another barcoding huddle, there's always a surprise question at the end that our panelists don't know about because it just pops into my head. But this one I thought would be fun, would be, since we've been talking about going the extra mile, and to continue that pun, I thought maybe we could share very briefly your favorite road trip destination that you've been to, or favorite road trip that you've taken. Short, version of that story. But since Leanne's giving me a quizzical look, I'm gonna start with Angie because she seems like she's solid on this one. So tell us about a favorite road trip, Angie.
I've been on many road trips, but quite a few years ago, before I started Geotab, my partner and I moved to Edmonton for a short while, and we decided to drive out there. So we took a few days, and we had some good stops, some scary camping moments, but overall it was a really, really great time. It really kind of got us to see the rest of Canada that we hadn't really had a chance to see yet.
Oh, that's awesome. It was probably beautiful despite the scary camping.
Yes.
Okay, I love it. So we got the Canadian Edmonton road trip. Ken, how about you next? We'll save Leanne for last.
It would have to be a trip across the country from Philadelphia to Seattle with my 11-year-old and 20-something-year-old at the time, and in my daughter's Toyota Corolla, which was packed up. She was heading to Seattle to finish grad school. People thought I was crazy, and we only had one breakdown at around Mount Rushmore, and it might have been me.
That's awesome. I'm sure there was tons of stories that came out of that trip, so we'll save those for another time. All right, Leanne, you're on the hot seat. Tell us about a road trip.
Okay, just recently, actually, we drove so I live currently just across the border in Buffalo in Southern Ontario in Canada. And we drove along the top of Lake Erie, and we ended up in Northern Michigan in Petoskey. That was meeting friends for a golf week. And that was just in July, and it was beautiful. It was a trip where in a very short time, I saw 4 of the Great Lakes, because where I live is right between Ontario and Erie. And then we went up to, the spot where the ferry goes over to, what's that island that starts with an M?
No idea.
Oh, now I can't remember.
Manitoulin.
No.
Oh.
No, Mackinac.
Okay.
Mackinac. And right there, that's where Michigan and Huron come together. So it was God's country. It was absolutely beautiful. It was, my husband and I haven't done a lot of road trips together, so it was just really great quality time, singing and talking, and
love it.
I love a road trip. I do.
Oh, who doesn't love a road trip? Because if you're asking me, my favorite road trip is always the next one I'm on. So the snacks and the coffee, and off we go. But once again, thank you so much for sharing. I hopefully those road trips gave some people out there some fun inspiration, in addition to the business inspiration that was shared today.
If we were prepared, Jody, we could have shown you the map of our road trip.
Maybe
exactly where we went.
We could show it with our Geotab data. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The data from our trips.
If you ever want to track yourself on a road trip, Geotab.
Well,
there you go.
We do.
Yep. We all have a device in our vehicles.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love it. You test it that way, right? So
exactly. Yep.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for sponsoring this huddle, Geotab. Leanne, Angie, it's been a pleasure. Ken, thank you so much for being our special guest today, and for great insights and comments here. If you enjoyed this huddle, definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's lots more like it, and you can kind of watch to your heart's content. Visit us at barcoding.com if you'd like to get started with telematics with Geotab, or you just have a simple question. You can go to barcoding.com, schedule that consultation, or send me an email. I'm happy to get you to the right people. So thank you guys once again, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Jody.
Thank you, Jody.
Bye.